going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin with Jake. Excuse my voice. So, voice is a little froggy today. We're going to do the best we can, though. Hope you're all doing well. We are back in the studio. Welcome to the season premiere of Season 3 of Talkin with Jake Camp. I didn't think this would get anything besides a little bit of 10-minute audio thing, and now we're in a big studio for the second straight season, third overall. Who knew? But, welcome back. Here we go. Start with MLB free agency. The Chicago Cubs make a nice sign. They signed Trey Mancini, 2 years and $14 million. That's a pretty good sign for the Cubs, who have had a quietly good offseason. They make the big move to get Swanson to play shortstop. They add Jameson Taillon to their rotation. They add Brad Boxberger to their bullpen. They had some other smaller signings. They also had Cody Bellinger. They're taking a chance on Bellinger. And now you add Mancini, you add Eric Hoffman to play first base. So they've had actually a pretty nice offseason, the Cubs. They had 74 wins last year. Obviously not great, but, not horrible, considering the team they had. And now they add quite a few playmakers. This is a team that, could possibly be sneaking into the postseason conversation this year. We shall see. Got a lot of young guys need to step up. Guys like Christopher Morel and Nico Horner. We will see what happens. But Cubs bring in Mancini, who will probably, I would think, will definitely do some DHing, can play first in a pinch as well as left field. Andrew McCutchen returns to the Pittsburgh Pirates. 1 year, $5 million. McCutchen, not nearly the guy who won the MVP in 2013, but he is still a solid player. Last year wasn't fantastic, only hit like 230 with 13 home runs. But he'll play left field every day for the Pirates. He's still a decent hitter, can play the outfield to an extent, provides some better leadership. And of course, he spent the first 9 years of his career with the Pirates. He was an All-Star 5 times in that span and was, like I said, the MVP of the league, of the National League in 2013. So Pirates at him. Pirates after offseason hasn't been awful. They haven't spent more than probably $10 million on anybody. But they've added a couple of low value conduct that, if they work out, could be steals. McCutchen, they make the trade for Choi. They made a couple of decent moves. You brought in Carlos Santana to DH. Their offseason they spent somewhat a lot. Obviously, Brian Reynolds might get traded, but at this point, he'll probably at least be there for opening day. But their offseason hasn't been awful. Better than they usually is. Isn't saying a lot, but still a little better at least. Yeah, Luke Weaver to the Reds, 1 year, $2 million. That's really a depth signing. He's been a former top prospect who flopped. That's some depth for the Reds, who are probably going to suck again. You got the Twins extend Chris Paddock, 3 years, $12 million. He wasn't great last year. Then he had Tommy John, but if he's healthy, when he's on, and he's healthy, he's a very good young arm. We'll see what happens. Padres bring in Nelson Cruz, 1 year, $1 million. Actually, a very good signing. He's not near the guy he once was, but at 42 years old, he's still a decent middle of the order bat. Last year in Washington, only hit, I believe, 10 home runs. Not his usual 35 to 40. The year prior in Minnesota, between Minnesota and Tampa, he hit 32. He also was in an awful lineup in Washington. Now he goes to San Diego in a much better lineup. I think that'll help his power numbers increase. He's not going to hit 30-plus bombs anymore, but at 42 can still give you 15 to 20 bombs, I think. We have trade. We have the Marlins trade. They're starting shortstop Miguel Rojas to the Dodgers for Jacob Amaya. Dodgers, who need the shortstop after you lose Trey Turner, and they didn't really do anything to replace him. They make the move to get Rojas from Miami. It's an interesting trade by Miami to trade their longest tenure player. Marlins do get back a good prospect, Jacob Amaya, who's an infield prospect. Had a really good year between AA and AAA. So that is a good return for the Dodgers. For the Miami Marlins, rather. And then you had supposedly the Marlins and the Twins are talking Pablo Lopez and Luis Arias for Luis Arias swap. Lopez is a great star. They've been considering trading him. You got a very packed rotation, a lot of good young starters there. You bring in Johnny Cueto. You gave him $8.5 million, so he's obviously going to have a spot in the rotation, so somebody's got to go. Whether that means trading them, putting him in the minors or putting him in the bullpen, and you could argue there's 5 or 6 guys that deserve to be in someone's rotation. So, you don't want to put much of anybody you can really put in the minors or even the bullpen. So Pablo Lopez could be a guy that could get traded because they probably need to move somebody. You have the Cardinals bench coach, Matt Holliday, steps down from his role. That's an interesting move there. Only 2 months ago is when he took the job. Of course, former player, spent the majority of his career with the Cardinals, had a very good career. Replaced by Joe McEwing, who was an ex-player, played for the Cardinals for a year in 1999. He was assistant coach with the White Sox a few years back for a while. The Mets actually interviewed him for their manager opening, I think it was 2018, and he has resurfaced. He's the Cardinals bench coach. You got that. The Cubs are actually building a statue for Ryne Sandberg, so that's a nice little tribute. And the Yankee starter Frankie Montas is going to miss the first month of the regular season with shoulder inflammation. Yankees have a pretty deep rotation. You land Carlos Rodon for agency. You have Garrett Cole's a great pitcher. Esther Cortez had a pretty good year last year. So you have a bunch of arms already there. That might mean Domingo Germán slides into the rotation, but that probably isn't too much of a problem. We'll see what happens there. And some sad news: Frank Thomas unfortunately passed away there. I believe it was last night. He was 93 years old. He had an incredible career. He started with the Mets when the Mets first became a franchise. He briefly had the Mets franchise record for home runs in a season with 32 in 1962. Had a great career for many teams. He unfortunately passed away. So condolences go out to his family, and he was a legend. Great player. Moving on to hockey. You got scores from last night. You got the Bruins over the Flyers 6-0. Bruins are just rolling right now. 34-5-4. That's crazy. Panthers over the Sabres 4-1. Avalanche over the Red Wings 6-3. Devils over the Sharks 4-3 in a shootout. Lightning over the Kraken 4-1. Stars over the Knights 4-0. Rangers over the Blue Jackets 3-1. Penguins over the Ducks 4-3 in overtime. Capitals over the Islanders 4-3 in overtime. Predators over the Flames 2-1. And the Blues over the Senators 2-1. As for the standings, in the Eastern Conference, Bruins are just running away with that with 72 points. They're in first. Carolina's in second with 62. New Jersey's in third with 61. Toronto in fourth with 59. Tampa is in fifth with 57. Rangers also with 57, but Tampa's got 3 games in hand. Washington is in seventh with 54, and Pittsburgh's in eighth with 50. Islanders also have 50, but Penguins got 2 games in hand. Florida starting to play a little bit better. They have gotten within 4 points of the last spot. Buffalo is 6 points out. Detroit 7 points out, as is Philly. And then you got Ottawa, Montreal, and Columbus, who is just god-awful. 13-28-2 Columbus. That's terrible. In the West, the Winnipeg Jets actually are in first place in the West right now. They're playing really well. They got 59. Dallas also has 59, but Winnipeg's got a game in hand. And Vegas at 58. They're technically in third right now. They fall a point out of the first spot in the West, which they've had pretty much all year. Seattle is in fourth with 56. The LA Kings also 56, but Kraken got 3 games in hand. Minnesota Wild's in sixth with 52. Edmonton in seventh with 51. Calgary in eighth with 51 as well. Those 2 teams are tied. Colorado's 4 points out. They have a lot of injuries right now, those defending champs. But hanging around, St. Louis is 3 points out. Nashville's 4 points out. And you got followed by Vancouver, who's struggling. And you got San Jose, Arizona, who's lost 9 in a row. Anaheim and Chicago Blackhawks, who are the worst team in hockey with 11, 26-4. Not very good. On to college basketball. College basketball scores from yesterday. You had number 3 Purdue over Michigan State, 64-63. Number 17 Miami over Syracuse, 82-78. Number 18 Charleston over William and Mary, 82-54. And number 24 Florida Atlantic over Western Kentucky, 76-62. And here are your rankings for this week. You got Houston remains at the 1 seed. Kansas is number 2. Purdue 3. Alabama number 4. Your UCLA ranked 5th. Gonzaga is ranked 6th. Texas 7th, Xavier 8th, Virginia 9th, Tennessee 10th, Arizona's 11th, Iowa State 12th, TCU is 13th, Kansas State 14th, Clemson 15th, they jump into the top 15, Miami at 16, Marquette is 17th, UConn is 18th, Auburn's 19th, Providence is 20th, Charleston's ranked 21st, Baylor at 22nd, Florida Atlantic is 23rd, Illinois is 24th for Duke, who's not had the greatest year so far. They are hanging in there at 25th. Very odd not seeing a lot of some of these blue bloods. Not a great year for the blue bloods. Got Kentucky, who's been terrible this year. They're not even ranked. Duke is barely ranked. Kansas was ranked 4th a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure what happened to them. They don't appear to be in the top 20. Oh, they're right there a second. I'm a dummy. Kansas, so outside of Kansas, who's ranked 2nd. Of course, they're the defending champs. You got Kentucky's not even ranked. Duke is at 25th. These blue bloods not having a fantastic year. North Carolina, who opened the year as the top team in the country, they were, I believe, in the national championship last year against Kansas. Had a great run last year. They're not ranked either. So, interesting. March Madness is going to be very interesting. You got some teams you don't usually see too high. Could get some higher seeds. You got, Tennessee's in the top 10. Tennessee was good last year, but TCU is ranked 13th. Kansas State's ranked 14th. Clemson's a top 15 team. Marquette's in the top 20. Florida Atlantic is a ranked team. March is going to be interesting this year. Of course, as it always is. On to professional basketball with the NBA. Scores from last night. Celtics over the Hornets, 130-118. Bucks over the Pacers, 132-119. By the way, in the Celtics game, Jason Tatum had 51 points and 10 rebounds. By the way, yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. Happy late Martin Luther King Day to everybody. For the Bucks, Drew Howard, 35 points and 11 assists. Cavs over the Pelicans, 113-103. Darius Garland, 30 points and 11 assists. Raptors over the Knicks, 123-121 in overtime. Fred Van Vliet, 33 points, 8 assists. Warriors over the Wizards. Jordan Poole, 32 points and 7 rebounds. Klay Thompson didn't play in that game. Jordan Poole stepped up. Hawks over the Heat, 121-113. 28 points and 7 assists for Dejounte Murray. Jazz over the Timberwolves, 126-125. Walker Kessler had a 20-20 game in that one. 20 points, 21 rebounds. Grizzlies over the Suns, 136-106. Desmond Bane had 28 points. Suns are really struggling, just 21-24 on the year. And Lakers over the Rockets, 140-132. LeBron had 48 points in that one, 9 assists, 8 rebounds, as he inches closer to the all-time scoring record in the NBA. NBA standings start in the Eastern Conference. Boston remains in first place. They have won 7 in a row. That team looks unstoppable. I'm not sure if anyone's going to beat them. Brooklyn's in second. They are technically tied with Milwaukee. I think they haven't played the same amount of games. I don't believe. No, they have not. I believe Brooklyn's got 2 games in hand there. You got Philly in 4th. Cleveland in 5th. You got the New York Knicks in 6th. In the play-ins, you got Miami at the 7th spot. Indiana in the 8th spot. 9th spot is Atlanta. And 10th spot is the Chicago Bulls. You got the Raptors are actually tied with the Bulls right now. They got the Wizards 2 games out of the play-ins. Orlando's 4 games out of the play-ins, so not horrible for them. And then Detroit and Charlotte round out the Eastern Conference. In the West, we're now to tie for first in the West between Denver and Memphis. Denver has won 6 in a row, and Memphis has won 10 games in a row. 10 straight wins for the Memphis Grizzlies. Wow. Pelicans are in 3rd. They continue to, they're still pulling their weight despite being down Zion. Sacramento is in 4th. Sacramento Kings are 4th in the West. That's crazy. Dallas is ranked 5th. Clippers are at 6th. In the play-ins, Golden State's the first play-in team. At 8th is Utah, who after a hot start slowed down, but they're hanging around. Minnesota's at 9th. Portland's at 10th. You got OKC is only half game out of the play-ins. You got Phoenix, who's just falling apart. They got a lot of injuries. No Devin Booker. They've had Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, and DeAndre have all been in and out of the lineup. They're a game out of the play-ins right now. You get the Lakers playing much better. Better than they usually are. They usually suck those last couple of years. They're a game and a half out of the play-ins. And then the Spurs and Rockets round out the Western Conference. Will be a very interesting trade deadline. Got a lot of teams looking to buy. Might not have enough sellers now, might be the one problem. So we shall see what happens. Wild card weekend lived up to his name. It was extremely wild. Let's talk about it. You had the 49ers beat the Seahawks 41-23. Brock Purdy had 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. The 49ers announced even if Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, this is Brock Purdy's team. He will start the entire playoffs. That is great to hear. He's playing great. So Niners move on. Seahawks are out. But kudos to them for even being in the playoff with Geno Smith having his career year. You know, Pete Carroll I thought did a good job this year. And Geno Smith, as he said, people wrote him up, but he fortunately did not write back. So we'll see what Seattle does in the offseason. You know, they got a lot of young talent on my team. Probably need a little better defense. And if they can improve defensively, this could be a very scary team next year. With Kenneth Walker, Geno, the receivers they have, what they have on the offensive line. They can get a little more experience on the offensive line, too. The Jaguars beat the Chargers 31-30. Chargers were up 27-0 at the half. Jaguars had 5 turnovers in the first half. Trevor Lawrence had 4 picks, but as bad as you could play in the first half. And Jaguars outscored the Chargers 31-3 in the second half, come all the way back and win. Chargers had 5 their offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi and quarterback coach Shane Day. I agree with the move. Lombardi needs to go. I do like Shane Day. I can see you keeping him. But if you fired the offensive coordinator, you might as well take the quarterback coach, I guess. But Brandon Staley should not have a job. Why does he have a job? I don't understand. That was as poorly coached games he could possibly have. He's had too many bad decisions. Why does he have a job? They basically made Lombardi and David a scapegoat. And look, Lombardi needs to get fired. Lombardi needs to go as well. Shane Day, I like Shane Day. I think he should get a shot at being offensive coordinator somewhere. Now, but if you're going to make a coaching change, obviously a new coach is not going to keep Shane Day on his staff. So you might as well get rid of him too. But Staley, I don't know how he steals a job. That's just embarrassing. That is the most Chargers thing ever. That's just embarrassing. They gotta get Justin Herbert a new coaching staff, otherwise they're going to waste his career. They wasted Drew Brees' career, they wasted Phillip Rivers' career, and they're looking like they're going to waste Justin Herbert's career. Chargers are going to Charger. Bills over the Dolphins 34-31. Dolphins put up a great fight with their third string Skylar Thompson in there. Bills, they got up to 17-0. And then the Dolphins at one point took a lead. And from there, Bills took the lead. They went back and forth. Bills won 34-31. Mike McDaniel, I'm getting a little worried about him. Look, he's hilarious. He's really funny when he's mic'd up and stuff. Seems like a great guy. Him and Tua definitely get along well. But when it comes to his X's and O's, I'm not sure about it. This dude was 7-3. And he barely by the skin of his teeth. He needed Joe Flacco to be Joe Flacco in that last game against the Jets to get into the playoffs. He got lucky, and now like his clock management is horrible. The play calling wasn't good, And 4th and 1, season number 1. You take a delay of game? Are you kidding me? That's just horrible. How do you take a delay of game on 4th and 1? Take a delay game of season number 9. That's just abysmal. That is abysmal. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Skylar Thompson, he's a third-string quarterback. He shouldn't be in the game. Obviously, if Tua was healthy, even if Teddy Bridgewater was healthy, he wouldn't be in the game. Yeah, Mike McDaniel looked like he's vaping on the sideline. I'm not sure if that's going to work. I am not sure. I wouldn't be surprised. I know Jim Harbaugh made an announcement. Well, the president of Michigan made an announcement that Jim Harbaugh is returning to Michigan. So it looks like he will not pursue an NFL job. I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins don't get to, I would say, even the AFC Championship next year. They don't have a deep playoff next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Stephen Ross, who we know loves Harbaugh and loves Michigan, fires him and goes against Jim Harbaugh. I would not be surprised. Giants over the Vikings in a bit of an upset, 31-24. Daniel Jones played great. Saquon Barkley played great. Fine, Giants defense stepped up. 31-24. I think Brian Daboll is your coach of the year. He did a fantastic job this year. He's got to be coach of the year. Vikings, Kirk Cousins, he's not bad, but I think it's time you look somewhere else. He's got so many weapons, and he can't win a playoff game. Like, he's got way too many weapons to be one done in the playoffs. He just can't be. He just cannot be trusted to win a big game. He just can't. And good Lord, fix that defense. That defense was not that good all year, and it was horrible in that game. This Giants offense, their best receiver is Darius Slade, who, by the way, you might want to consider cutting after he dropped that ball. Oh my God, he should be walking back. He should be walking back to New York after that drop pass. That's the best receiver. They got guys out on the offensive line. They got a defense that has been that was healthy for the first time all season. That wasn't until the playoffs they actually got healthy. You lose in the Giants, even you lose to them. On paper, the Vikings should have won that game. I know a lot of people were picking the Giants because it was a 3-point game. It was only a 3-point game the first time around, and the Giants got a bunch of guys back on their defense and stuff like that. But obviously Daboll's a great coach. But my God, Vikings got some work to do this offseason. Bengals over the Ravens, 24-17. Bengals barely escaping that one. Ravens obviously had their backup quarterback in there. Sam Hubbard had the 98-yard fumble return in the fourth quarter, ended up being the deciding factor. Ravens almost had a Hail Mary. It was tipped, and James Prosher almost caught it. That was since overtime. But J.K. Dobbins, dude, shut up, saying, if you had Lamar, we would have won. The QB sneak was not a good call. I mean, yes, the Ravens offensive coordinator Greg Roman needs to get fired, but don't go out and say that, okay? Saying he wants more touches. All right, you guys lost as a team. These are how the game went. If Lamar was going to win, maybe, but it's not guaranteed. Dude, shut up, okay? Shut up. And the Cowboys have won a playoff game for the fourth time in the last 27 years. They run through the Bucs, 31-14. Dak Prescott played great in the game. Cowboys defense stepped up. Tom Brady looked absolutely awful. He needs to retire. He is cooked, baked, washed, bleached, however you want to put it. He looked god-awful. Good Lord, he was terrible. The Bucs defense was leaving Cowboys receivers open all night. They couldn't stop a nosebleed last night. Cowboys demolished them 31-14. In the divisional round, we will have the Kansas City Chiefs, who of course got the bye. They will host the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Buffalo Bills will host the Cincinnati Bengals. In the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles will host their division rivals, the New York Giants. And then you have the San Francisco 49ers will host the Dallas Cowboys. My game picks will be on Wednesday, as per usual. Only other thing I got is, by the way, the Cons are one of the people who are interested in buying WWE. Please don't sell it to the Cons. Vince, Triple H, all you guys. Don't do that, okay? Please now. And by the way, I know I said last week I was going to do this podcast 4 days of the semester. Surprise. It looks like it's going to be 5 days of the semester. My class schedule changed just as the semester started. So I'm hoping to do this Monday through Friday. So that's great news. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long, and have a great day.